Right, now by moving the servo up the front, I've just got to swap the hubs around. So where this used to join both sides at the front with a bar, we now want obviously the servo to join the bar. So we're going to pop this pin out under the circlip, pop this out and swap them round so they rotate the other way round. So therefore the rear joints will be at the back and the front joint will be at, and this joint will be at the front, and then that can link to the servo. So a little mod we've got to do to this front axle. Now another little mod courtesy of Scott, on his channel he showed modding the steering arm slightly to give you better lock. Obviously with the TriDrive axles I'm going to need that better steering. So standard shift rod, straight with your joints on. You can buy cranked joints that help for this, but the cheapest way is just to bend this one. So as you can see, I've put a little kink in that one. And then obviously you just wind the ends out to compensate for that. The way I did it was a little socket over the end, sort of there. You need to make sure you bend it the same way, and then just kink it round. Probably a touch more. There we go. So a kinked steering arm, and that should give us better lock. So now just a matter of straightening the servo out and putting this on and seeing where they need to sit. Right, so you see me having these two delivered. While I'm building this, trying to get parts for these is quite difficult. You can't seem to buy the individual pieces, so I needed 2 drive axles for the next project, and obviously I needed an axle for my Volvo that I nicked for the tri-axle on this. So I thought, well, why don't I buy a couple of kits and break them and sell the bits off and just keep the bits I need, because obviously there's people wanting bits that can't get them. So that's what I've done. So I've taken every part out of this, every parts tree, every parts bag and bits and pieces, and listed them all on eBay. I've sold quite a lot of it already actually. It's only been a couple of days. But I have actually sold the drive axle as well, so I haven't achieved what I wanted to. But I thought it would be a little experiment. Obviously, if all the parts sold, then maybe that's something I can kind of do on the side for a bit of extra. If I need bits, I can buy a kit, keep bits for a project and sell the rest. So it was more of an experiment to see whether these bits sold or not. But yeah, we've sold quite a few bits of these. I haven't done anything with this yet, because I think I'm going to build this one, but as a heavy haul one. So the rails that I had for the original Wrecker have now obviously been modified to have a 3rd drive axle. They've still got the twin front steer. So I thought maybe I could use those, make a twin steer, tri-drive, heavy haul truck using this cab. So yeah, so I'll need pretty much all the bits out of here. I'm going to keep the cab, obviously stuff like the gearbox and the motor and the chassis rails we can probably sell, things like that. But yeah, so this is just really a test to see if the bits will sell, and this was really because I knew I wanted bits off it. So the only problem now is I'm going to need to use that drive axle for my Volvo, which will leave me with no drive-through axles for the heavy haul. So I'm going to have to buy another 2 drive-through axles. I can buy those from someone individually, but obviously if this goes quite well, then I can always buy another couple of these and sell the bits. The cabs are always wanted because people do obviously T-cab conversions like this, and you know, various other bits and pieces go. So we might be all right. I don't think I'm going to make a fortune out of it, put it that way, but it might cover the cost of the bits that I need. So that's the thought anyway. I was going to advertise all this as well and see which ones sold better, because they're only about 60 quid difference. But as I say, now I've got it, I think I'm going to use the bits off this for another project. So that's what these were about, so I thought I'd better tell you. So yeah, back to building. I think what I'm going to do, because I need more of these for here, for the other axle, I'm going to make them. So what I'm going to do is obviously get a bit of metal, draw around it, make the template, and then cut it out. So we'll give that a go and see how they come out. I mean, this is only, doesn't weigh nothing, so it's probably alley. I don't know what I've got, but I'll have a look. So I'll go and find some metal. So there we go, Tamiya versus mine. All right, mine won't work on the middle axle, or middle to rear axle, without the cutout. But as I'm only wanting them for the front axle, it works perfectly. So that saved me having to buy them. There we go, job's a good one. My homemade plates are on, the axle is on. We are golden. Right, so we've now got Steg's motor in there, well, Steg's gearbox and a Carson motor up to the original Wrecker shaft. So we're now all connected, technically. We could get all the electrics in and use it. I have slightly modified the deck as well, because I had to move the motor back a bit. They're obviously the original mounting holes. So to get this shaft to fit, I had to move this back. So therefore, it had to go under them stanchions. So I've just taken a bit off the bottom, ground a bit off the bottom, and then drilled and tapped the hole. I'm just waiting for some longer bolts, because once I've trimmed that down, the lip that the screw sits on is gone. So I need some at the top with a washer, and I think that I've cut that one a little bit too low. So it needs a washer under there as well. That one I think's all right, although I might stick a washer under. We'll see how it sits. Cut a little bit too much off. But yeah, so we are back together and it should be ready to go. So next is bodywork, and for that I have purchased paint, primers, sandpapers, etc. So another job for next week. So in my last clip I said I was going to paint it. Well, I haven't, as you can see, and in fact I've robbed bits of it. I needed a drive axle as a template for another build, so I've robbed it off here and I'm just waiting for parts to arrive for this. So I've started working out the side steps for the T-cab. Now technically you're not supposed to have this middle one, you're supposed to have this one and these ones, but it left, as I've said before, a massive gap either between this and this, or above this and between this and the cab, sorry. So I thought, well, why don't I see if the short cab one fits in the gap, and it does. So I've chopped it down slightly, as you can see, taken a bit out, moved it in. All right, it doesn't look that great at the moment because it's just literally resting there with double-sided sticky foam on a bit of plasticard. But I think once that's all painted, that'll look all right. I know this, I don't know if that works, but it follows the line, so I think it'll be all right. And to mount it, let me just open the cab. So to mount it, what I did was take one of the bodywork sides, chopped it, slotted it, and then put a nut and bolt through it just for now, so I can loosen it and move this in and out to sit right. So yeah, as I say, I drilled a couple of holes through there, and there's captive screws, M2s,
So I'll probably have to put another one on there because it's a bit wobbly. And obviously it's not sitting exactly where it needs to, but obviously, yeah, once it's actually sitting properly, that will sit a bit closer to the cab once I've bent the bracket in the right place, and that's that. So yeah, I think that'll work. So I'm going to make the one for the other side. So I will end this video here. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share. The next video will be probably of the other project I've begun. So you'll see that shortly.